What it do? Yo man, listen. The Emperor's Children has been added to Tactics as a faction. You know what that means? We need to make more predictions. Let's get right into it. Now, in the year 2025, we've had two factions get added to Tacticus. The first one was the Adeptus Custodes faction, and the most recent one is the Emperor's Children faction. For those of you keeping track at home, that is one Imperium faction and one Chaos faction. So, going off of this, I think it is quite reasonable to assume that the next faction coming to Tacticus will be a Xenos faction. So, what factions are left, right? There are a lot of factions in 40k, but there are also a lot of factions in Tacticus. A lot of things have been added to the game. If we quickly go over all the Xenos factions, there's Eldari, Drukhari, Genestealer, Votann, Necron, Orc, Tau, and Tyranids. A lot of this is already in Tacticus. We have Tyranids, we have Tau, we have Orcs, we have Necrons, we have Genestealer cults, we have Eldar, right? So there are two left. Those are Drukhari and Leagues of Votann. Now, Votann are getting a codex relatively soon, according to Games Workshop on their codex roadmap. But before talking about Votann, I want to talk about Drukhari, because I think Drukhari is way more interesting from a gameplay perspective. Let's get right into it. Now, for those of you who don't know, Drukhari, despite being a faction under the Xenos banner, actually divides into three sects: the Cabal, the Covens, and the Cults. I think Snowprint will want to add a representative of each of the sects into Tacticus, because I think that will lead to a very interesting situation. Now, the first one, the leader of the Cabal, I will, for those of you who play tabletop, I will give the non-named characters because I think that's more interesting. I don't think Snowprint will do like 5 legendaries for one faction. So, the first guy is an Archon. Archon is the leader of Cabals. He's a very interesting unit from a gameplay perspective in tabletop. So if you look at his stats, he has 8 movement, toughness 3, 3 up save, 4 wounds. He's very fast, he's very frail. However, he has a 2 up invulnerable save. Those of you who don't know, 2 up invulnerable is as tough as you can get when it comes to an invulnerable save. Very few things in the game actually have this ability. However, it has an asterisk. This asterisk means that if you fail an invulnerable save, you lose the invulnerable save. He is extremely durable until he isn't. So he's this very fast model that moves around, he shoots okay, he fights relatively well into infantry. He's pretty cool, he has some cool buffing abilities for his faction, and he can be extremely durable, or you can just fail one save and die. I think a shooty melee Archon that has a passive ability which makes him extremely durable until he isn't would be pretty cool. Similar to how the healer characters have a % chance to bring something back, this thing will have a % chance to block a good chunk of the damage, but if he fails the % chance, the passive just gets turned off. I think Archon will be a fine addition to Tacticus. The next one is the Haemonculus. Haemonculus is the leader of the Covens. Covens are much more grotesque, weird abominations. He fights okay. He also shoots okay. If you look at the stats and you know a little bit about tabletop, the Strength 2 and Strength 3 are nothing to write home about. These are actually not good whatsoever. However, he does have the anti-keyword, which makes it so into his desired targets, he's very good. He is also a buffer in the sense of durability. he gives his attached unit a 4-up Feel No Pain, which is as high as it can currently get outside of Crusade. And I think this will be a fine addition in the sense that, hey, we have a character that is relatively okay in fighting, it buffs the units he's next to. I do assume he will be a healer of some sort, because he's kind of like a mad scientist. And having a Xenos healer is something that is pretty cool. Can't lie about that. The last one is the Succubus. Now this is the Witch Cults. The Succubus, if you look at his stats, is 8 movement, toughness 3, strength, 6 up save, 4 vulnerable save, wounds 4. Not tough. Not tough at all. That's a common thread in drukhari. They are all very fast. They are all very killy into their desired targets, but they are not durable whatsoever. A 4-up invulnerable save on a toughness 3 and 4 wound model, you're just gambling. And you're most likely going to lose the gamble. This edition that we are currently in, the 10th edition, has not been kind to the Succubus in regards to their output. However, having played the faction in 9th edition, I can confidently say that the Succubus was one of, if not the single scariest melee threat you could face for a long while. When the Codex first came out, this thing was an absolute beast. You could kill anything. I would absolutely love to have a, I don't know, like a 4-5 movement character that is an absolute missile. You just throw it at the enemy, it does a gazillion damage, and then it's made out of paper. I think that will be very fun. We have Athena. She's kind of fast, she doesn't do as much damage, and she's not that tough. I would like something along those lines. I think it'll be pretty cool. These 3 sub-faction leaders, I think they really capture the identity of drukhari, because drukhari does love having these different sects come together and, you know, make a raiding party. And I think, just going off of faction identity, when the last Blood Angel hadn't come out, I was saying, like, guys, I think it's gonna be Dante or Sanguinar or some sort of Sanguinary Guard, because the Golden Boys are a massive part of the Blood Angel's identity, and if we don't have them, that'll be extremely disappointing. I feel the same way about the Succubus, the Haemonculus, and the Archon. I think they represent the faction identity so well that not having them in the game will be quite disappointing. Speaking of faction identity, Drazar. Now, I butchered the name, but you guys are used to that. I always say the name's wrong. Funnily enough, this is not too dissimilar from the Succubus. Drazar is the quote-unquote faction leader, kinda, I want to say. That's not like exactly true. But this thing is an absolute beatstick. Last edition, even this edition, this thing just comes up, fights you. I mean, the best way to describe this thing is that it's a blender. It just kills you. And I love that. I would love, because I always think that the melee characters are significantly more interesting than non-melee characters in Tacticus, so I think this will be really funny. It's kind of difficult to say, like, you even see, he doesn't have War Gear options, Master of Blade just makes him fight stronger, and this is just the Pain Token army rule. I mean, Pain Tokens could be implemented to Tacticus, they will most likely be the faction rule, but who knows, when the Codex comes out, they might just do away with Pain Tokens and then do something new. So I don't want to talk too much about this, just in case Games Workshop decides Pain Tokens are not the way to go. Yeah, but no, this will be a really cool model. Also, look at this thing. Like, his horns, has something coming out of the back, like these blades. He's holding the blades to the blade and not the hilt. It's just crazy. It looks pretty cool. Anyways, very abrupt end. Sorry about that. It's okay, though. I have one more video coming up. Thank you very much for watching the video. I really do appreciate you doing so. Thank you very much. Have a good day and stay safe. Bye!